Greetings and welcome to a new installment of Armored Core Requiem, the series where I take player-submitted builds and optimize them to the best of my abilities. I have been playing Armored Core 6 since it came out, and I've already created some of my own PvP builds, as well as I've upgraded some other players' builds. And so far, they have not disappointed. So if you have a build you would like me to take a look at, you can leave the share code in a comment if you are on Xbox, and you could just leave the list of parts and playstyle if you are not on Xbox. But yes, all is said, you have a good one. Now let's get on to the build. Greetings! Alright, we have two melee builds to take a look at. Both come from viewers of the channel. We upgraded these builds live, some of the builds with the actual providers of the builds, creators themselves, so they had their own input. Everyone else in the stream had great input, so this is definitely a combination of quite a few minds. Great advice all around. Hopefully we made the proper upgrades indubitably. But yes, like the usual, I will go over the base build, and then the upgrade and the choices behind the upgrades, and then lastly we'll do a final PvP test to pit the two builds up against each other to see which one performs better to determine which one is superior. So yes, let's begin. Alrighty, let's go over the basics of the first build. First, starting with weaponry, we have the Zimmerman shotgun, need no introduction. The pile bunker, equally as iconic. For shoulder mounts, we have the Balaam G210 missile launcher. This shoots about 10 in a straight firing fashion. These are pretty alright for just, missile. Most Balaam missiles are really just used for consistent pressure, more or less. Some stagger buildup at range, especially when it comes to a melee build where you kind of need something like that. And then next we have the grenade cannon earshot. This cannon has become quite infamous in the latest patches. Its travel time is great, its reload time not so much, its splash damage and overall damage, especially on direct hit, it is a great punish. It is great to just fly up above your enemy and shoot down. Even if you don't get a direct hit, chances are you'll get the splash damage, which is going to bring up a lot of stagger. Pair that with the missiles, and we should have done some nice stagger at range to move him with a shotgun and finish him off with the bunk. When it comes to the parts, it doesn't seem like anything's chosen too deliberately, just a nice looking mech, and its overall performance isn't too bad. We're hitting a 290 speed threshold, which will allow us to see some decent speed, which we're definitely going to need if we need to get close with the bunk as we are a melee build. As well as we got some pretty impressive overall defenses. 11,000 AP, pretty damn good, adds a lot of survivability. Aptitude stability is 1800, which is great. I never recommend going below 1600, otherwise you're going to get stunned almost off of anything, unless of course you're a really lightweight build and you don't plan on getting hit. For the inner parts, we have the coral booster. This one is an all-rounder, pretty alright booster, although on a build like this, especially a close range melee build, I don't necessarily recommend it. It offers a lot of boost and some good travel distance, but overall not exactly perfect for what we're doing. The FCS, the Walt, is a interesting choice. This is definitely the best overall rounded FCS with good close, great medium, and decent long range, but we have a shotgun and a melee, so we don't really need all those other ranges. We might as well just go full close range. And for generator, doesn't seem like anything specific, just something with a good energy regen and decent supply. Alright, now let's go over a quick demo as to the synergy with these weapons. Right, so I imagine the best combo would be to get above your opponent, go for the earshot, fire away missiles as well as your Zimmerman to guarantee stagger, and then bunk them to death. Overall pretty simple, as most melees are, as well as we have our assault boost kicks for even more damage, our stagger buildup, mixing with our missiles. But yeah, pretty straightforward. The earshot is definitely very good for the initial startup of stagger. Won't always land though, so it's nice to have our missiles on standby for sure, and our Zimmerman to guarantee it. But yes, those are the basics of this build. Now we shall go over what me and the chat on stream consider to be Requiem.
これが Requiem だ。
And behold, Requiem. For the primary weapons, we're keeping the same energy of the Zimmerman, as they are just the best choice for getting close, doing decent damage, and building up hella stagger to go into our bunk. as this is a melee build and I don't want to change up the type of flow of it too much. I want the user to feel as if this is an upgrade, not a completely different build they're using. I've ended up switching out to the Earshot for the Javelin Beta. This is a missile launcher instead of a cannon. This is a lot lighter and comes out a lot quicker. The tracking on this thing is not, since it comes in from the side, not just straight ahead or above. It tends to go around objects and buildings if people try to use it for cover. And yeah, it can sneak up on people, do decent damage, but its stagger potential is nuts. It's basically like having a third Zimmerman. And so yeah, I figure this is more practical and probably, no, guarantee will land a lot more than an Earshot. And of course, we're keeping the bunk, as is the style of the build. We're just keeping it on the shoulders so we can open up with their Zimmermans. With our assembly of parts, we found a way to have decent stability, at least 10k AP, and get us to that 310 threshold of speed, which will allow us to be much more mobile and get a lot closer for the bonk, as the pile bunker has the shortest range when using the melee. You get really no thrust out of it, you pretty much need to play close to the enemy at all times. For the booster, we're going with the Brizzle booster, as it allows us to actually chase down any opponents. As we are very close range, we're going to struggle with kites and rats, so we need the max assault boost speed booster to allow us to catch up to these opponents and beat their ass with our bonk. As well as when we're using assault boosts, our kinetic weapons, therefore our shotguns, our Zimmermans, will grab a, I think, 30% increase on damage and stag, so pretty fucking good. For our FCS, we're actually switching over to the Max Missile Lock FCS, as it allows us to use our Javelin Beta much more frequently, as this has a pretty long lock-on time, but with this FCS it locks on quite fast and we can shoot it quite consistently. And we don't really need to worry about our normal tracking, as we're using shotguns, and our arms aren't necessarily Bastio, as we don't really need it because we're using a pile bunker. For the most part, we're going to be one-shot or two-shotting most builds anyway. And then for generator, we're going with the Coral Gen, because this allows us to pretty much always be on the chase, always be on the move. Coral Gen and Brizzle Boost mixture is very popular in today's builds, as it allows you just to boost at max speed, and by the time you run out of energy, just chill out for a little bit. Chances are you can even regen in the air, so if you're low on energy, you can either just assault boost to the sky and let yourself fall to dodge most attacks while recharging at the same time. But yeah, Coral Gen recharging all the way up after depletion while using the Brizzle Boost is a recipe for never being able to be outran again. Alright, but now I shall demonstrate the synergy of weapons with this build. So the idea for this is in two different from the last build. It's shoot out a missile at range, assault boost in, either go for a kick into Zimmermans, into pile bunker, or you can assault boost, shoot the Zims at the same time, which can, I'm pretty sure, stag alongside the Javelin pretty quick. Hell, double Zim assault boost into kick does do a great stun. And of course, our Zimmans come back quite fast to add pressure while we wait for our Javelin to come back. Yeah, overall pretty simple, nothing too complex. And now we shall go over our second build of the day, and then at the end we shall show off the PvP clips from both builds performing against their prior versions. Alrighty, and now we have this fucking chunky boy to take a look at. For our first weapon, we have the Gatling gun. This is honestly a pretty decent weapon for a tank build. Its direct hit adjustment is quite nutty, as long as you don't let it overheat constantly. Use your shots when it's best. If your enemy's at a range and they're just moving to the side and they're pretty light, you might as well not just spray and pray at them, as most of your bullets won't even, their travel time's not fast enough, so you might as well just let them cool until you get a little closer to, just absolutely shred them, and then once poise is broken, oh my god, their health will just disappear. And for our secondary, we have the Double Trouble Chainsaw. This thing is, in my opinion, a better pile bunker. Its one-shot potential is insane, mainly on direct hit adjustment instead of out of stagger. But that's most melees anyway. Yeah, but overall, pretty great melee. It is quite heavy, so you need to be a tankier boy to hold it and use it effectively. However, on a tank build though, I mean, not exactly the best, as you won't be able to really move in close enough to get it, unless you're running a very close range, maybe bazooka-esque build. With our current weaponry, I don't see this working out too well. Its shield capability is quite neat, but we don't really want to be even slower, considering our current speed is the slowest it could possibly be. Well, not slowest it could possibly be, but it's about to be 2 50 threshold, which is the slowest threshold there is. For our shoulder mounts, we have the Javelin Beta, pretty good choice, as well as the 70 VPM Plasma Missile Launcher. This one's very utilized in the current state of the game. It is quite good. It almost hits every single time. Vertical, yet good. Plasma, good for building up some stagger at range, more or less guarantees stagger, a bit of damage. Since it's plasma, it has quite a area of effect and constant damage. So yeah, it's pretty good for taking out some, pretty good for building up stagger, and say if your enemy has something like terminal armor, by the time it wears out, you can rely on this to do the final hit. For the parts, I can't really tell anything too specific. It just seems like it's a chunky boy meant to just tank everything and trade with a chainsaw, and be able to carry both the chainsaw and Gatling gun. For inner parts, we have the Bristle Booster, a very good choice for its max assault boost speed, which yeah, this build definitely needs the speed. For FCS, the Max Missile Lock FCS, which I guess yeah makes sense with the Javelin Beta. It does have a pretty slow lock on, so it definitely favors this FCS. The Coral Generator, again, great, works in great tandem with the Bristle Boost, so I understand that for sure. But yeah, those are the basics. Let's go over a quick synergy demo. Alrighty, so the main game plan with this build is to use the missiles at range, either use Assault Boost while using Gatling Gun to just absolutely shred and get that damage increase, and then go in with the Chainsaw for the finisher. Obviously, a little easier said than done, as we are quite slow. Obviously, we have our Assault Boost to keep us... Oh god, I didn't mean to do that. Our Assault Boost to keep us close enough, but thing is, it kind of doesn't really work with our Gatling Gun. Sure, while Assault Boosting, we get a little bit of increase on our damage and impact, but it just doesn't really pair with the stop-go nature of Assault Boost into Gatling Gun constantly. I mean, it's alright, but I could just see this getting absolutely kicked up out of... What the hell? How did that know? What the fuck? Yeah, but no, I can see this build getting kicked out of its combos a lot, and overall outrun and spaced by most builds. It does have the Bristle Boost Coral Gen, but it's just naturally really slow, really just telegraphed, really. The missiles are pretty hard to dodge for sure, and the Gatling Gun is alright and decently persistent. But again, the Gatling Gun itself, not really hard to dodge, and with their FCS not being very good, I can see many builds just dodging once or twice every now and again, just so the Gatling Gun misses most of its shots. Alright, but those are the basics of the build. Let's go over the upgrades.
これがレクイエムだ。
And behold, Requiem. For the weapons, I've switched out the Gatling gun for the Zimmerman, as it is a lot lighter, a lot more consistent with dealing stag and direct damage that very much complements our close range combat. Keeping the double trouble chainsaw, as it is the staple of this build. We're now going to be rocking for our shoulder weapons dual Javelin Betas, as these are just, they're nuts, man, they're great. Their tracking is great. Might as well run two, especially if we're going to sacrifice our FCS for it. These are like having a couple more Zimmermans. They're just going to build up great stag at a range. By the time we even get close for a kick or a Zimmerman, chances are we'll break their stag and we can fuck them up with a chainsaw. For the assembly of parts, we found a nice way to get up to over 10k AP, over 1600 stability. We're at 1900, very good. We're almost at the 290 speed threshold, which we will definitely see an increase in speed from the 260, 250. And overall, this will allow us to stay close to our enemy, keep up the pressure, much like the last melee build, as most melee builds ought to be. And for the inner parts, we're keeping the Bristle Booster, as it just works with melee, keeps us close despite our lower speeds. 280 or 270 is a nice speed threshold, but it is in the lower half, so it is decently slow compared to most melee builds. So we definitely need to keep the Bristle Booster so that no one can really outrun us, as we are primarily close range. Keeping the Missile Lock FCS, considering now we're using 2 Javelin, we need these firing consistently, and we're using a shotgun and melee, so we don't really need our FCS to carry us in the tracking department. Keeping the Coral Gen, as the Coral Gen Bristle Boost combination is mighty. And lastly, I'll go over a quick demonstration of the synergy of parts and weapons. And like usual, missiles at range, Assault Boost Zimmerman, maybe even kick into the chainsaw. Very good. And in fact, you don't even need Assault Boost or kick. You just go from Javelins into Zimmerman, and you've already got your stun by itself. Obviously, it won't always work out that way. They're going to always dodge most of one or the other, or they're going to have more stability, but having this just as a default powerhouse, just double javelin, Zimmerman, into chainsaw is nuts. Not even counting assault boost increase or kicks or nothing like that. That is just pretty good, I think. Alright, and now let's see if we can get some PvP matches to show off the improvements of the builds. Alrighty, I got a pal of mine lined up, Shattered, over on Discord. We're both in the AC Fight Club Xbox Discord. He will be using the prior versions of the builds, I will be using the Requiem variants, and we shall face off to see which build is superior. Alrighty, first build, the bunk build. Let's see if the improvement is warranted.
Shit, I didn't mean to do that.
Oh my god.
Ah, missed it.
Not gonna get this one either. Oh, I think I could just raw bunk it.
It's amazing having the one tap. Jesus, these fucking boosters suck.
What the hell? Orange.
Ah. Yeah, just fly fishing is killing me. Okay, you know what? I don't want to say it. Fuck it up. I'm going to die here.
Oh, barely. The bunk is so hard to use, man. I always say the
Yeah,
chainsaw is pretty much the better.
While.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say chainsaw is better because it's less consistent.
It just comes up quicker, it does pretty much the same. But yeah, no, the bunker just has
Sometimes
no...
it'll just randomly fuck you for no reason, just decides to.
True enough.
Like I stopped using the campaign for S ranking like big boy missions with like big bosses because it just sometimes it just fucks up for no reason. I used T-posing, that was cool.
Oh, let's see.
Oh.
God. I was surprised you didn't die to that, although I guess I don't have, what's it called, Bastio arms, but... Yep, guess yeah.
Like once I understood how boost reload worked, I would go back and rework a lot of my quads.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's pretty dope learning more about building and then going back and tweaking and getting a new one.
Refining.
Indubitably.
The hard part is making sure it's both drippy and also optimal.
That's true. That is very true. Alright.
What the fuck is this boost?
Yeah,
kidding me?
he's chunky boy, man. What could be said, man?
I moved like 2 feet.
Terminal armor go burr. The end is upon us.
What? I'm too fat.
I know, dude. You got bristle boost, so you can't get close distance, but like being that thick, you can't really go for kicks consistently. It's just the boost speed is not there. It's just, yeah, not too thick for. I understand like why you thought he had to go like big heavy man, because chainsaw's pretty heavy. If you want to add even more to that, especially a Gatling gun, you do need to be quite thick below your
Barely 200, 230.
Exactly.
I feel like if you're playing with a melee weapon like this, you have to have like the boost speed so you can stick close to enemy.
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah, it'd be nice to at least the what's it called, boost like the shield capability of the chainsaw itself. I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
I've been invited back anyway. Dear
Yes.
God. Oh, nice. Nice.
So bad. It's killing me.
That's what I hear.
god.
Oh, bullshit and not good. Oh, there you
Are
said.
you gonna do that?
Okay, is there?
Oh, jeez. I'm dead. Yeah.
He's chainsawing up.
Don't do
No.
it.
Oh, my chainsaws are so great. It's great too. If you just standing there revving it up, it actually does damage on hit. So if you just walk up to someone,
Yeah.
it's so great. And that is the conclusion. Big thanks to Shedded for helping me out with this experiment. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching this video. If you have a build you would like me to take a look at and upgrade on stream with the rest, feel free to leave it in a comment below. All is said, you have yourself a very good one, and yeah, peace.